Alright, the boxing mega event, Day of Reckoning, is now behind us, and I'm still a little in shock of what I just watched. That has to be the most amount of talent that's ever been put together on a single boxing card in one night. There wasn't a single fight on this card that I thought was worth missing, from Opetaya, the potential best cruiserweight boxer on the planet right now, to Dimitri Bivol putting on an amazing performance. There's just too much to talk about from this card, but in this video, I'm going to be focusing on the two main events, both of which were very surprising to say the least. Joseph Parker just sent shockwaves through the world of boxing, specifically the heavyweight division, in his bout against Deontay Wilder, a bout that many people thought was going to be complete one-way traffic and probably done within the first couple rounds. Going in, I had the opinion that Deontay Wilder had the harder challenge between him and Anthony Joshua in terms of the opponents that they were going to face. Joseph Parker is a great fighter. I know that he has fought and lost to Anthony Joshua some years ago, but that doesn't take away from the fact that the guy's clearly been working very hard since that loss to improve on his skill set, and I think he put that all on display tonight. Essentially, Joseph Parker went out there and bullied the bully. At one point in this one, really letting his hands go. He threw a gigantic overhand right that landed flush on Deontay Wilder, and I'm surprised that Wilder was able to take a shot like that and just keep coming forward. If nothing else, Deontay Wilder showed some amazing heart tonight. That being said, he really didn't show too much else. What we saw was the same as what we usually see from Wilder, minus the big payoff in the end. This is not the first time we've seen Wilder go complete fight losing every single round. It's just that normally he's able to land that big powerful shot before the final bell rings. But tonight was completely different. I gotta give a lot of credit to Joe Parker for an amazing game plan, basically just burying his head in Deontay Wilder's chest for the majority of this fight, coming in so close that Wilder can't throw his right hand from range. If you look at Deontay Wilder's highlights, typically you see the same thing. It's a huge right hand, sometimes looping, sometimes straight, but it's always from a distance. Wilder's not known as someone who can fight on the inside, and when he's forced to, this is what you get. This reminded me a lot of Tyson Fury, the first guy to test out pushing Wilder on the back foot for the entire fight, which paid dividends. It's kind of hard to know what to take away from this fight. On one hand, what Joe Parker did was excellent. On the other hand, what we saw from Deontay Wilder was very questionable. And at 38 years old, it's easy to kind of go along with the assumption that Wilder's lost a step as he's gotten older. But I know a lot of boxing fans, they're going to come out of this saying that Wilder's washed, Wilder was never good, and he just got exposed for the bum he really is. And while I don't disagree with that, I think this fight definitely showcases what happens when you get this far into the professional ranks without having really high level fundamentals. I know that subsequently a lot of people are going to use this fight as a way to discredit Tyson Fury, who of course the highlight of his career are the back-to-back knockouts over Deontay Wilder. But I think this might say a lot more about how good Joseph Parker is at this stage of his career and how potentially mentally defeated Wilder has been since the back-to-back losses from Tyson Fury. And then of course the main event, Anthony Joshua versus Otto Wallin. Obviously this was not the main event that anybody was hoping for when it got announced that Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua were going to be fighting in Saudi Arabia. This was decent matchmaking, I would say. Otto Wallin is someone who was able to give Tyson Fury some problems. In their fight, Otto Wallin was able to put a gigantic cut over the eye of Tyson Fury. There was a chance that Fury would end up losing by a doctor stoppage because the cut was just that bad. Otto is also someone that Anthony Joshua has fought before in the amateurs and beaten, so Joshua had a good understanding of what he was getting himself into. But that being said, what we wanted to see from Joshua was an emphatic win, and that's exactly what we got. While we didn't get the clean one-shot knockout, we got a complete and total display of dominance, speed, power, aggression. This is exactly what most people want to see out of Anthony Joshua, and a fourth round stoppage is honestly what I think most people expected from Deontay Wilder over Joseph Parker. So given both of these performances, I'm almost kind of glad we didn't get Wilder versus Joshua, because from what Joshua showed out there and from what Wilder showed out there, a fight between the two probably would not go very well for Deontay Wilder. And then of course you have to take into account the fact that Tyson Fury just kind of put all of his weight onto Wilder, who is one of the smallest heavyweights of all time, and that ended up being a lot for Wilder to handle. And now you got a guy like Anthony Joshua who is really big in comparison to Wilder, but unlike Tyson Fury, he's big in an athletic way, right? He's not not just carrying an extra 50, 60, 70 pounds of fat like Tyson. Again, not really too much to break down from Anthony Joshua. What we saw was the best of what he's shown us over the past few years. This is just the first time we've seen him put it together in a while, in a few years. So it's next. Deontay Wilder is certainly in a very strange place right now in his career. This whole card was basically set to lay the ground for a matchup between Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua, and with a loss like that from Deontay Wilder, there's just no reason to make that fight anymore. What kind of sucks, it definitely sucks for boxing fans. This was supposed to be the final step before we get to see that fight, and this turns out that Wilder's no longer at that level anymore. But for Wilder, there is, assuming Wilder wants to continue fighting, which at this point he's shown no signs of retiring anytime soon, I think there is another very hard-hitting heavyweight out there that also is coming off of a loss in Francis Ngannou. And now I know after this fight, you've probably gotta stack the odds in favor of Francis Ngannou by virtue of the fact that neither one of them has outstanding fundamentals, but based on what we've seen from Francis Ngannou, he might even have better fundamentals than Deontay Wilder, equal if not greater punching power. And then of course Francis Ngannou is so much bigger than Deontay Wilder that in the clinch Wilder is just gonna get manhandled like we've never seen before. And as for Anthony Joshua, immediately after this fight card was over, I thought that the fight to make, I guess, was Joseph Parker versus Anthony Joshua 2. This is a much improved Joe Parker from the version that we saw against Joshua the first time. But earlier on this card, we did get another high-level heavyweight get a first-round finish in Filip Hrgović. Hrgović versus AJ is a good fight. It's definitely a far cry from Wilder AJ, but unfortunately, I think one of the biggest takeaways from this card is that Deontay Wilder is probably definitely no longer a player in terms of the big mega money fights, title fights that are going to happen in the heavyweight division. Deontay being 38, Francis Ngannou being 37, I think a fight there makes sense, and then the winner can either fight the winner of AJ versus Hrgović or potentially the winner of Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk. Altogether, this was an amazing night of fights. We had some of the best fighters from 175, cruiserweight, and heavyweight. Multiple great fighters from heavyweight fighting on the same card. Absolutely amazing. I didn't feel like a single fight on this card was worth missing. Hopefully in Saudi Arabia, before the end of Riyadh season, they're able to put on some more amazing fight cards just like this. And whether your favorite fighter won or lost tonight, no matter what, I think everyone can agree that this was a historic night for the sport of boxing. Thanks for watching.